When I was in Kfar Aza, which was the second hardest hit kibbutz of all of October 7th, a lot of people died or got taken hostage. The lady who was a resident of that kibbutz, she was taking us through the site, showing us all the damage and all the little, the little stones and the pictures of the people who died. And at the very end, after looking at all this, she basically sits down and talks about the whole, I used to be like a real lefty, like idealist, I used to believe in a one-state solution where we all share the land and maybe one day I can go to Gaza and we can have coffee. And then she was like, I don't want that anymore. But she still said their well-being and their security and their prosperity is linked to ours. A lot of these people used to go to Gaza. They made friends there. After October 7th, and after everything that's followed, all the blood and slaughter, these people don't need to be your friends. They don't need to like you. They don't need to, if you're Israeli, you don't need these people to like you. You don't need to like them. But you do need to acknowledge that they're not going anywhere. You're not getting 2 million people out of Gaza. As you guys know, the ceasefire was very abruptly and unilaterally ended by a series of Israeli airstrikes not too long ago. We know that quite a large number of Hamas officials have been dropping like flies. I don't really know why these members have been getting killed now as opposed to earlier. They've been going after political leaders. They've been going after military leaders. There's one suggestion that during the ceasefire, because these Hamas people came out into the streets, they were opening themselves up to intelligence and security breaches, which meant that Israelis could gather intel on them to find where they were and take them out. Another suggestion is that there is growing dissent in Gaza that resulted in more people willing to give up information that got these people killed. So you can see there's like a whole list of, I think on the very first day, they killed like 6 head officials, 2 Politburo members, the interior minister, the security minister, I think 2 very high Al-Qassam commanders. They're still going after Mohammed Sinwar, who seems to be the new leader now, but he's probably being protected by having hostages around him. It seems that second theory, though, also, alongside all those killings, you probably noticed as well that the health ministry has reported a very alarming number of deaths of women and children, and they've published videos to accompany, like they are real. That is most likely because most of these Hamas officials were probably, if I'm going to guess, targeted in their homes. That's something the IDF have done since Cast Lead, since 2008. They've gone after Hamas officials, and in some cases, they've decided that a family of 5, 10, 15, 20 is worth it to get this one official. So that second theory about them gathering intel during the ceasefire, potentially even from Gazans who are upset with Hamas, might actually have been true, because yesterday we just saw the very beginning of what seems to be the largest anti-Hamas demonstration in Gaza in years. Definitely bigger than anything we've seen since October 7th. We've got already people posting scheduled protests for future dates. So this one happened yesterday, and the Mukhtars of Shijaya put out a notice saying that they wanted to have another protest today, which has already started. If you want the translation of this one, they are effectively saying, you notice they don't talk about Israel all that much in these statements that I've seen. They talk about enough is enough. The silence is no longer an option in the face of destruction, starvation, siege, and ongoing killing. We're suffering. We call people to go out in a popular march of anger, rejecting the continuation of the war and demanding that Hamas lift its hand from the Gaza Strip so that life can return to its people and our ongoing suffering can end. We pay a heavy price. We continue to pay it day after day while the leaders ignore us and leave us to die and starve. Enough trading in our blood, enough burdening our children's future. It's time to raise our voices loudly, demand our legitimate rights. And that one is scheduled for today. It'll be happening right now, probably. This is Shijaya, which is just east of Gaza City, I think. There was a protest at the Indonesian hospital yesterday.
الآن يهتفون برا 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 حماس تطلع برا من أمام مستشفى الأندونيسي.
This is the Indonesian hospital, not the Andalusian. So they're saying Hamas barra barra, which means Hamas out.
كما تشاهدون شمال قطاع غزة الناس انهكتها الحرب ولم ينظر إليهم أحد. كما تشاهدون شعب غزة لا يريد الحروب كما تشاهدون.
These translations will be scuffed, by the way, but it's generally... Notice that name, Anas Sharif. Anas Sharif is a Al Jazeera journalist, and they're basically complaining that this person is not covering the protest properly, so keep that person's name in mind.
عامة الناس تسأل عن أنس شريف مراسل قناة الجزيرة. عامة الشعب لا يريد.
They're saying Al Jazeera here, TV channel.
قناة الجزيرة. ها هم كما تشاهدون عامة الناس تطالب.
They've been chatting to release the hostages, among other things. This is all Gaza, not West Bank. I believe there was a protest against Hamas scheduled in Ramallah today, but I don't know if it started yet or if it's happening at all. They were chanting, "Where's the press?"
ضد حكم حماس ما يجري في قطاع غزة كارثة. يطالبون هنا الناس والمواطنين الإفراج عن الأسرى من أجل بقائهم الحياة.
I believe the context of them saying release the prisoners here, I think the way that they've worded that, they are referring to the hostages, right? It sounds like they're saying release the hostages. I could be wrong.
هنا حماس تطالب الشعب أن يبقى صامدا. كيف يبقى صامدا وهو يموت وينزف؟ لازم على حماس عليها التوقف ما يجري في قطاع غزة. على جميع الشمال. احنا هنا من منطقة بيت لاهيا، منطقة النادي. هذه الألوف خرجت من أجل أن توصل رسالتها للعالم كله. رافضين حكم حماس.
They're saying hey or whatever. They're saying Hamas are terrorists, basically. This is not a good translation. I have no idea what they're saying. Apart from God is great. I know that some of the rhetoric, you'll notice some of the rhetoric's been really on the nose when they're, like we saw with that Mukhtar statement, that they're talking about Hamas trading in their blood. I don't know how you directly translate it, but they're effectively saying that like Hamas is they're saying more or less what I've been saying for a while, is that like Hamas are basically gambling with the lives of their own people by fighting, like by putting their own civilians in harm's way, putting their own people and other locals in harm's way by keeping up this fight. So they're blaming Hamas for basically gambling with their lives. So this is a speaker in Jabalia, which is it's a refugee camp just around Gaza City, and it is a very famous Hamas stronghold.
كل العرب كل دول العالم تقف مع الإنسان اللي زينا مع الشعب الغلبان اللي يحتاهم مع المظلومين يبعثوا لنا دائم يبعثوا لنا تعاون عشان احنا مالناش ذنب احنا مالناش ذنب انا مش ناطق من هذه انا زلمه بدي اعيش انا زلمه لساني انا زلمه بدافع عن الشعب يموتوا علينا بصلاح الله.
There's a very recurring chant as well. It's about, like, not a chant, but there's a very recurring sentiment where it's always like, we want to live, we want peace, waving white flags, things like that. That's coming up quite a lot as well. The BBC spoke about it yesterday. We have no idea about the numbers. They're saying hundreds, but it started in Beit Lahia, which is in North Gaza, but it's been starting to spread down to Gaza City, to Khan Yunis. It's Shujaya. It's happening quite a few places now. This is from Khan Yunis. What are they saying here?
لأول مرة الشارع الغزي ينتفض في خان يونس في وجه الظلم والاستبداد من حركة حماس الإرهابية في خارج الوطن التي تقامر في أطفالنا ونسائنا وشيوخنا وكبارنا. اليوم انكسر حاجز الظلم وانكسر حاجز الخوف. اليوم يوم الشعب. اليوم لا كلمة تعلو على كلمة الشعب.
Oh, you can feel free to type what you think he's saying. Or no, type what he is saying if you know. Don't type what you think he's saying. God damn it. That is opening a can of worms.
شعب متلاحم. تسقط حماس. تسقط حماس. تسقط حماس. تسقط حماس.
They're doing the Hamas terrorist chant again in Khan Yunis. Tasqut Hamas means down with Hamas.
اليوم كل صحفي حر كل صحفي حر ينشر معاناة الشعب الغزي وينشر ماذا يكون في الشارع. كل صحفي حر كل إنسان حر ينقل
وينقل معاناة الناس من الشارع.
Just so you guys know as well, the fact that there are any of these protests at all, whether it's only a few hundred people or maybe even a couple of thousand, Gaza's a big place. Even if it's a small protest, the ramifications of this are quite big for so many reasons. One, it's because if anyone's protesting against Hamas, it's because they're serious, okay? It's not because they're like Westerners who got bored and wanted to spend the afternoon letting off their steam, and then they just go back home and nothing happens. If people are protesting against Hamas in Gaza, it's because they are serious. Because in the past, 2018, 2019, when there were protests against Hamas's economic policies and against price hikes and things like that, people were tortured. People were dispersed by people and had the shit beaten out of them with truncheons and batons, and people were shot, people were disappeared. Protesting against Hamas is it's not like a Blue Peter event, okay? It's a serious thing. So if they're doing it, one, it means they're really, really mad, and two, it means they're committed to it. It means they're not just gonna do it and then get bored and go back to it. That's one reason. The other reason is they're not even if they did get bored and wanted to go home, they have nothing to go home to. Like most of these people, their lives are destroyed. They've all lost family members. They've almost all lost property. So the idea of it just kind of calming down, well, that works if people have other things to do, but these guys don't have other things to do. Third, this is happening in the context of Israel engaging in probably one of the most aggressive bombing campaigns since the war started. Like, so many people have died in a short space of time just in the last few days. And these guys are still drawing their attention towards Hamas, okay? The people who would have you think that they're the defenders of Gaza against the genocidal aggression or whatever, right? No, they're mad at and they're very specific with Hamas. They're accusing Hamas of gambling with their well-being. They're accusing Hamas of not caring. They're accusing Hamas of, there's one guy who talks about, one village elder who talks about Hamas constantly repeating the same error, but expecting a different result each time. It's also a sign that Hamas are just very disempowered, yeah, because their leaders are dropping like flies. They are probably demoralized. I don't think they expected phase one of that ceasefire to end as quickly as it did. I don't think they expected Israel to just go right back into the extensive airstrikes. You can tell they didn't because of the amount of showing off and the amount of pomp they engaged in during the hostage exchange ceremonies. So the iron fist is gone as well, it seems, or it's not really been present that much so far. There was one video which appeared to look like men in masks dispersing protesters with truncheons, but maybe someone firing a gun, but I'm not really sure how much there was. Someone in Discord General says they can translate for you. Oh, it's not Melody, is it? I don't need like a live translation. There's just like people can just drop it in chat if they catch a sentence. What was this one? Han Yunis. So Shajaya. This was the statement. We already read this one though. Another Han Yunis one. This is the same one. Did I just double? That's a different one. I heard the Hamas is a terrorist again. They're not saying Aliyah. Well done, buddy. All right. This is the guy from Jabalia. Did he say Beit Hanun? I thought he was from Jabalia.
ايام اليهود طلعت نص المعسكر على غرب غزه ما عندنا ذنب احنا اليوم فيش اكل فيش تربيه صحي فيش كبسات تنظم الشوارع احنا قاعدين الان في زباله قاعدين على الزباله على الوسط احنا بدناش حماس ايش بدك حماس برا ايش بدك انتوا العالم في الحكم
That's another Hamas out there for sure. Okay. This is day 2 in Beit Lahia. This is actually the preparations before the protest, I think. Beit Lahia, for context, it was also a pretty big stronghold right in the north of Gaza. It's like almost right at the tip in the center. So it was a very, very big focus. I think the IDF operated in and out of Beit Lahia like 4 times. That's why you can see like they're just walking through nothing but rubble and damaged buildings. I trust these translations because this guy is actually from Gaza. He lives in Germany now, so okay. If you guys disagree with it, you can let me know. Israel Katz calling on Gazans to join the protests. Israel Katz is a subhuman piece of shit. And if he wants to have any influence over these people, he should paraglide himself right into the center of Gaza with every single thing he's ever said about Palestinians sellotaped to his body in Arabic. And he can just put his hands in the air and say, hey, brothers, me and you, yeah? That's what he should do, okay? That's the only useful thing Israel Katz could ever do. Okay, well, I know that says Hamas. I don't know what this says. Wait. No, I don't know what this says. But it's in North Gaza, apparently. Doesn't represent us. That's a very quick way of saying doesn't represent us. Okay. Nuseret. Yeah, I covered the West Bank kidnapping. Yeah, the settler violence. Yeah. It'll probably go into the next VOD. The next segment. Is Hamdan, is that one of the negotiators that they're talking about? Or am I just guessing? Well, that's saying get out Hamas. Because there was the protest earlier from the one that we saw above from Beit Lahia, where they were talking about the negotiators, the two Hamas negotiators, saying that we don't want you to decide for us, basically. Hamas doesn't represent us. Okay. Some chants from day 2. Tell Hamdan, out Hamas. Okay. So, like, is it not taken as bigoted or whatever when Palestinians refer to Israelis as Jews? Is that normal? Genuinely asking. Yeah. Usually when Palestinians refer to Israelis, they'll just say the Jews. Yeah. Like Yahud. Yeah. They are the Jews to be. Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of them. This is from today, I believe. They're saying, for the love of God, Hamas out. Oh, yeah, I saw a few of those. Yeah. Yeah, this is... Okay, so... I feel like there's enough evidence here, given that these protests, they're happening... So I know that they're happening in Jabalia, they're happening in Khan Yunis, they're happening in Shujaya, and in Beit Lahia, and Nuseret, and as well as, I think this is just Gaza City, I don't know. But you'll notice that there's a real consistency there, which is just very interesting about how... Someone said, why is Hamas not intervening? Hamas, as far as I know, have not commented yet, at least not when I read last night. Hamas are kind of intervening, though, just in a very interesting way. We'll get to that. That's, for God's sake, Hamas out. Hamas bara, which means out. Reuters did a little video of it. Remember, this is happening. I don't think Israel has called off the airstrikes yet. They're still happening, and these guys are still out in the streets doing this, right? Like, it's a very... Even if these die down tomorrow, like, this is a very, very, like, rare event to see. Yeah. Okay. Now, if you remember, okay, first, okay, a couple of things. People talking about what can Israel do. Whilst this is happening, okay, the only day after scenario that Netanyahu has even winked at in approval is Trump's plan, which is to kick all of these people out of Gaza forever and turn it into an American resort with bearded belly dancers and Elon Musk eating cheesy hummus out of a bread bowl. Okay? It's outrageous. If you don't know what Israel can do, okay? When I was in Kfar Aza, which was the second hardest hit kibbutz of all of October 7th, I think I can't remember how many people died. I think it was like 10% of the kibbutz population, though. Like 50 or 60 people. A lot of people died or got taken hostage. The lady who was a resident of that kibbutz, I think the only reason she didn't get hit by October 7th was because she, at the very last minute, visited her mum the night before. Like, that's how she avoided October 7th. But she was taking us through the site, showing us all the damage and all the little, the little stones and the pictures of the people who died, like, just sit down where they died, like, this is where they died, this is where they were shot, etc. And at the very end, after looking at all this, she basically sits down and talks about the whole, like, oh, I used to be like a real lefty, like, idealist. I used to believe in a one-state solution where we all share the land, and maybe one day I can go to Gaza and we can have coffee and like that. And then she was like, I don't want that anymore. She was done with that. But she still said, like their well-being and their security and their prosperity is linked to ours. Like, these people lived, this kibbutz, Kfar Aza, is like less than a kilometer away from the Gaza Strip. They live very, very close to each other. A lot of these people used to go to Gaza before the Oslo Accords. They used to go into Gaza to go shopping and shit like that. And they made friends there and shit. So after October 7th, and after everything that's followed, all the blood and slaughter and a health ministry list where the number of people who died at age 0 is like 27 pages long or something. These people don't need to be your friends. They don't need to like you. They don't need to, if you're Israeli, like, you don't need these people to like you. You don't need to like them. But you do need to acknowledge that they're not going anywhere. You're not getting 2 million people out of Gaza. Even Netanyahu doesn't actually think that's possible. Like, whatever he's signaling at, I think Netanyahu seems to be basically gearing all of his activity towards two things. One is staying out of jail, and the other is keeping Smotrich happy in the government, so he has a government that's stuck together. He doesn't give a but you have to understand that you're not getting rid of them. The only way that Israelis are going to live alongside Gazans, even Palestinians in the West Bank, is if they have their own, if they have a society, if they have a state. You need to accept that. They're not going to be your best neighbors. They're not even going to be, they're not going to be neighbors that you're going to want anything to do with ever, at least not in this lifetime. And they're not going to want anything to do with you. But Israel has a democracy. Like, you can do, these protests are not a rare thing for Israel. They've been doing this the whole time. The problem is that Israel and their leadership just has no vision. The right-wing leadership is full of incompetence, corruption, lack of vision, lots and lots of hatred. Okay, the only ones who do have vision in the Israeli government are like fascists. Okay, like Ben Gvir and shit, Israel Katz. But the problem with Israel is that what's left of the Israeli left, or even the Israeli center, still don't seem to have come to the realization that even if you get rid of Hamas, 2 million Palestinians in Gaza are still there, and they're not going anywhere. And they shouldn't have to go anywhere. It's not fair that they have to go anywhere. Like, what the? So it's not practical. It's not moral. It's not ethical. It's nothing, right? It's not an option. So I don't know. If you're Israeli, just get rid of your government. I don't know what to say. I mean, we can't, bro. If these guys can protest against Hamas, okay, it's okay. I'm sorry. I know Israelis are protesting as well. Okay, but rip. Anyway, there is. People asked if Hamas have intervened here. They have, but not necessarily through strength of arms. They haven't really shown that yet. You remember we saw one of these protests. Where was it? Oh, here. You remember these guys? They were specifically calling out one journalist in particular, Anas Sharif, saying, where are the journalists? Why are they not filming this protest? Why are they not paying attention to us? Well, that's because Al Jazeera are friends with Hamas. Al Jazeera journalists have a very interesting relationship with Hamas, a quite friendly one. I'm going to show you an example. Where did I put it? Oh no, where did I put it? Here. They are Hamas. Well, we'll see. Just as one example. This is Yahya Sinwar addressing in 2021 a bunch of journalists, and he kind of glazes. He commends Al Jazeera for their contribution to the resistance, to the narrative.
واسمحوا لي بصورة خاصة أن أخص الجزيرة بالتحية، فقد تيسر لي من غرفة العمليات التي كنت أدير العمل فيها أن أحضر الجزيرة بصورة خاصة. يمكن هذا خلى لها شوية خصوصية. لقد كانت الجزيرة أفضل منبر يعبر عن حقيقة موقفنا وجرائم الاحتلال، وأنا لا أنقص وسائل الإعلام الأخرى. الصورة كانت واضحة والفارق كان شاسع، البون كان شاسع بين الإعلام العروبي الوطني الذي يعيش هموم الأمة وينقل قضاياها، وبين الإعلام الهابط دون أن أذكر أسماء الذي حاول أن يسوق لرواية العدو وحاول أن يكون جزء من الحرب المعنوية على شعبنا وأمتنا. فكل التحية لكم أيها الفدائيون الأبطال.
Heroic Fetty, yeah, you're dead, bro. Rip. You're so dead. You ain't getting out of that pickle. Okay, so the reason I bring up that is because they're talking about Anas Sharif, saying, why aren't you filming this? Why aren't you showing the world what's happening, the anti-Hamas protests? Al Jazeera did comment eventually, because Anas Sharif is actually an Al Jazeera journalist. That's who they're talking about there. This is him commenting on the protests. The people of Gaza are demanding an end to the ongoing Israeli aggression and genocide that has not stopped since the beginning of the war, as their suffering increases during Ramadan. The occupation army prevented the entry of tents and food supplies, exacerbating the suffering of the homeless. Many families were forced to live in destroyed homes, unable to endure the tragic conditions. So that's Anas Sharif there. And if you'll notice, he gets kind of roasted in the replies. There's a lot of conflict in the Arabic replies. They didn't say get out, Hamas is going out. I wish, my brother Anas, that you would also publish about the people who reject the war and reject the actions of the Hamas government. Some people supporting him. The people of Gaza are demanding the departure of Hamas. Are you not listening, or are you texting from your home? He's getting a little bit grilled. There's a bit of dissent in there. I think there are some people as well who are supporting him, calling the anti-Hamas people flies, I think they call them. I guess that's their version of bots. Where is it? Where are the flies and the bots? Might have been deleted. Oh, here. May God keep you steadfast and protect you. Do not pay attention to the comments of the electronic flies and the Fatah committees. May God keep them busy with themselves and protect the good and honorable people in Gaza. So there's a bit of an information war going on right now between Al Jazeera and basically every other reporter in Gaza. So I mentioned this as well earlier, that if you look up demonstrations in Gaza, you'll see that there is an Al Jazeera item talking about popular gatherings demanding an end to the war on the Strip, okay, pointed at Israel. And you'll see this Saudi outlet, or Saudi-funded outlet, saying demonstrations in Beit Lahia, chanting Hamas out, Hamas out. So this person, Anas, is clearly, in that protest we saw, was not very popular amongst those guys. The IDF, interestingly, have long accused him of being a terrorist. If you look through their list of 6 exposed Hamas journalists, Anas is listed here as an operative in the Nukba, actually, which is the elite battalion of Hamas. They say that he has a military ID number. Apparently this is him. I have no idea, but they've got a little spreadsheet here and everything. So they've been accused. You can take it with however much salt you want, but they've been accused by the IDF of being a terrorist. It wouldn't be the first. There have been Al Jazeera journalists or affiliated journalists who objectively were. I don't know about this guy particularly. Apparently, he's in the East Jabalia battalion, but okay. This is another protest one we saw earlier where they're saying, where is Anas? Where are the journalists? Why won't they report this? All that kind of shit. So Al Jazeera definitely have their stance on this, and it seems to be like they're trying to peddle this, and they're trying to basically report on this, but whitewash all the people we just saw chanting for Hamas to leave, that Hamas are terrorists, that they're against Hamas being there, that they're blaming Hamas for their predicament.